Sunlight is a drug, not literally. You cannot place it inside a capsule. But sunlight changes the body. It reaches the eyes, affects the brain's internal clock, interacts with the skin, and influences daily rhythms. Like any powerful input, the effect depends on the type, timing, intensity, and dose. When people say sunlight, they imagine one thing. But sunlight contains different forms of energy. Visible light helps you see. Infrared radiation feels like warmth. Ultraviolet radiation is invisible, but it can interact with the skin and eyes. One source sends several different signals. Your body is not simply standing beneath the sun. It is reading information. Light entering the eyes tells the brain something about the time of day. UV reaching the skin triggers a different response. Heat sends another message. The same sunlight can produce both useful signals and harmful damage. Inside the brain is a timing system that helps organize your sleep-wake cycle. Light is one of its strongest environmental cues. When daylight reaches your eyes, the brain receives a message. The day has started. You do not need to stare at the sun. Normal outdoor daylight is enough to send the signal. Think of morning daylight as a reference point on a map. Without a reference point, the body clock can drift. A reasonably consistent morning routine gives the brain clearer information. Wake up, open the curtains, step outside safely, and allow the new day to look like a new day. For most of human history, days were bright and nights were dark. Modern life often reverses the pattern. Many people spend a morning inside a dim room, work beneath weak indoor lighting, and then expose their eyes to bright screens late at night. The body receives a confusing timetable. Some online trends encourage people to stare directly at the sun. Do not do this. The goal is outdoor daylight, not direct solar viewing. Your retina is delicate tissue. You can benefit from daylight while looking at the world around you, not at the sun itself. Daylight helps tell the brain when the day begins. Darkness helps tell the brain when the day is ending. But bright rooms, phones, televisions, and laptops can weaken that contrast. The body is tired, yet the environment keeps sending the message. Stay alert. Morning daylight does not knock you unconscious at night. That is not how it works. It is more like setting the correct time on a clock. A clearer daytime signal can support a healthier rhythm, while dimmer evenings create a more natural transition into rest. Going outdoors can help for reasons beyond sunlight. Outdoor time often creates opportunities to walk, move, breathe, and step away from constant digital stimulation. A morning walk combines daylight with physical activity. Two ordinary habits become one practical routine. Light can influence mood, but do not turn this into a miracle claim. Sunlight does not replace mental health care. Bright light therapy is used in some cases of winter pattern seasonal affective disorder under appropriate guidance. The responsible message is balance. Light can matter, but complex conditions require proper care. Sunlight also interacts with the skin. When ultraviolet rays reach the skin, they can trigger vitamin D synthesis. Vitamin D then undergoes further processing inside the body. This is one reason sunlight and vitamin D are often discussed together. Vitamin D helps the body absorb calcium and supports bone health. It also has other roles inside the body. But do not confuse an important nutrient with a reason to chase excessive sun exposure. More sunlight is not automatically better sunlight. Here is the problem with simple online advice. One person says, get exactly 10 minutes of sun. Another says 20. Another says 1 hour. But sunlight exposure is not a universal prescription. Skin tone, season, latitude, weather, time of day, and individual health all change the equation. A stopwatch cannot understand your skin, your location, your medication, or the UV index. Healthy outdoor time should not become a contest to tolerate the most sunlight. The body benefits from a reasonable rhythm. The skin does not need to burn before the day becomes useful. Sunlight is not the only pathway to vitamin D. Food and supplements can also provide vitamin D. People concerned about deficiency should seek appropriate medical advice rather than using sunburn, tanning beds, or extreme exposure as a self-prescribed treatment. Ultraviolet radiation cannot be seen. That is what makes it easy to underestimate. You may feel comfortable outdoors. The air may be cool. Clouds may cover part of the sky. But UV can still reach the skin and eyes. Comfort is not an accurate UV detector. A sunburn is not proof that your body is becoming healthier. It is an alarm. The skin has received excessive UV exposure. Redness, pain, and peeling are visible signs of damage. The goal is not to discover how much injury your skin can tolerate. People often describe a tan as healthy, but a tan is not a certificate of wellness. It is the skin responding to UV exposure. A change in skin color does not mean the damage has been canceled. The body is trying to defend itself against an environmental stressor. Too much ultraviolet exposure can contribute to skin cancer. The risk does not always announce itself immediately. Damage can accumulate quietly over years. This is why a careless habit in the present can create a consequence that appears much later. Sun exposure also affects appearance. Repeated UV exposure can contribute to premature skin aging, including wrinkles and other visible changes. The skin remembers patterns. A single day is not the whole story. Repeated behavior becomes a long-term record. The skin is not the only organ at risk. UV exposure can also harm the eyes and contribute to conditions such as cataracts. Sunglasses are not merely a fashion accessory. Choose sunglasses that provide strong UVA and UVB protection. Directly staring at the sun can damage the retina and may cause permanent vision loss. Sunglasses do not make sun gazing safe. The lesson is simple enough to remember. Receive daylight with your eyes open, but keep your attention on the world around you. A cloudy sky can create a false sense of safety. Clouds may reduce some UV exposure, but they do not always block it completely. You can still become sunburned on a cool or overcast day. The weather forecast tells you how the sky feels. The UV index tells you something different. The UV index is one of the simplest tools for making better decisions outdoors. It estimates the intensity of ultraviolet radiation. A higher number means stronger UV exposure and a greater need for protection. Before planning extended time outdoors, check the UV index for your location. Sun safety is not a complicated biohack. Seek shade when appropriate. Wear protective clothing. Use a wide-brimmed hat. Choose UV protective sunglasses. Apply broad-spectrum sunscreen to exposed skin and reapply it as directed, especially when sweating or swimming. Online misinformation often frames sunscreen as an obstacle to health. But protecting the skin does not mean becoming afraid of the outdoors. You can walk, exercise, work, and enjoy nature while reducing avoidable UV damage. Sun protection and outdoor activity can exist together. You do not have to choose between hiding indoors and burning in the sun. That is a false choice. The better strategy is to use daylight intelligently. Go outside, move your body, respect the UV index. Protect your skin and eyes. Avoid turning a helpful habit into an extreme one. Children and teenagers also need sun-safe habits. Damage accumulated early in life can matter later. Teach the ordinary actions. Seek shade, wear a hat, protect exposed skin, use suitable sunglasses, and do not treat a sunburn as a normal part of summer. Some medications and medical conditions can increase sensitivity to sunlight. This is another reason generic advice is incomplete. A routine that works for one person may not be appropriate for another. When in doubt, ask a qualified healthcare professional or pharmacist. A tanning bed is not a health device. It exposes the body to ultraviolet radiation and should not be used as a vitamin D strategy. A shortcut that increases avoidable UV exposure is not a shortcut to better health. It is a trade you do not need to make. Industry loves extremes. The internet rewards dramatic claims. Never wear sunscreen. Stare into the sun. Build a tan before summer. Treat light as a cure for everything. But biology is not impressed by dramatic claims. It responds to dose, timing, context, and repeated behavior. A practical routine can be simple. After waking, step outside safely for a brief walk, or sit in an outdoor area. Look at your surroundings, not at the sun. Check the UV index when exposure may be significant. Use protection when needed. Begin the day with daylight and movement. The body clock understands contrast. Brighter daytime exposure tells the brain that the day is active. Dimmer evening conditions tell the brain that the day is closing. You do not need a complicated protocol. You need a lifestyle with clearer signals. Try a 7-day experiment. Start your morning with safe outdoor daylight and a short walk. Reduce unnecessary bright screens late at night. Check the UV index before extended outdoor activities. Use shade, clothing, sunscreen, and sunglasses when appropriate. Observe your sleep rhythm, energy, and consistency. If you are concerned about vitamin D deficiency, do not diagnose yourself from a social media video. A qualified healthcare professional can assess your circumstances and determine whether testing, dietary changes, or supplementation may be appropriate. Health advice should become more precise when the individual risk becomes more important. Seek medical care for a concerning skin change, a suspicious mole, or a lesion that does not heal. Seek prompt eye care after direct sun exposure if you notice blurred vision, dark spots, or changes in central vision. Prevention matters, but early attention also matters. Here's a Feynman test. Can you explain sunlight in one sentence? Try this. Daylight helps set the clock, while excessive UV can damage the skin and eyes. That sentence is simple, accurate, and useful enough to guide daily behavior. Sunlight is not your enemy. It is not your miracle cure either. It is a powerful environmental input. Use daylight to support a healthier rhythm. Enjoy outdoor activity. Protect your skin and eyes. Avoid extreme advice. Respect the dose. Sunlight is a drug only in the sense that it changes the body. The right signal at the right time can support a healthier routine. Too much ultraviolet exposure can create real harm. Step outside. Move your body. Protect yourself. And never confuse a useful dose with unlimited permission.